The Demonic Tapes was released in 2017. This is a horror film written and directed by Richard Mansfield. And we have a cast including Daniel Mansfield, Alice Keedwell, and Darren Munn. And I actually decided to watch this because I want to watch the second film, which is a doll-based horror. I'm a big fan of doll-based horror, so I'm really looking forward to that. With this one, it's it's okay. It is watchable. I love the concept, but it wasn't exactly scary. So if you like tame horror films, I know not everybody has a stomach for really intense horror films, and if the narrative sounds interesting to you, then maybe it's worth watching. Our protagonist finds some tapes in the basement of this house, and these tapes have recordings on them that were made by a psychic medium. And, well, in theory, there are some spooky things happening on those tapes. However, I really disagree with that statement. First of all, the voice on the tapes doesn't really ever sound that scared. The tapes themselves are kind of boring to listen to for the most part, and because the tapes weren't particularly scary, there wasn't really anything scary happening. I didn't feel any fear at all. I never felt like there was a threat at any point. So maybe they were fascinating, but certainly not scary. And when I say nothing happens for the majority of the film, I'm not really exaggerating. Nothing happens. And it's not even one of those films where it's slowly building suspense. It doesn't work very well. There is no real suspense. The tapes themselves are very dull to listen to, and nothing else is happening. We also have a few too many close ups of the Christmas tree. Initially, it looked very pretty, the lights were very attractive, but after a certain point, I got sick of looking at this Christmas tree. So there's not really a lot to look at either. The house itself is a nice size, there's a lot of space to work with, and I guess the space was utilised well enough. But in general, the film maybe would have worked better as a short, because for the bulk of the film, nothing happens. And it's not tremendously long, it's a little over an hour. But even then, I'd say maybe there were 10 minutes of interesting moments, and maybe if we'd had 10 minutes building up to those moments, it could have maybe been quite a solid short film. But as a feature film, it just doesn't work very well. It's not very scary. As I said, maybe if you're new to horror or you don't like really scary horror films, then you might find it to be okay, but I still don't think you'll find it to be that compelling. In general, there's not really anything about this that I can recommend because, personally at least, I felt nothing. I didn't feel any fear. I didn't feel any interest in this. I just felt bored, to be honest. And apart from occasionally looking at some twinkly Christmas lights, visually it's not appealing either. And as I said, the voice on the tape isn't the most interesting to listen to, and it doesn't really make me feel scared. The demonic tapes is an interesting enough idea. It's not that it couldn't work, but it needed a lot of work to be an interesting film. However, I am looking forward to the doll-based sequel, and I feel like, for me at least, doll horrors are generally quite scary, or at least fun. So I'm going in with an open mind. I'm looking forward to it still. But for now, unless the concept really, really, really appeals to you, then I can't really recommend the demonic tapes.